Thank you for joining the Top Keys. My name is Patel. I have a good friend with us today, Tarun Patel. Tarun, how you doing, man?
I'm well. How are you?
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for visiting Florida and spending your hard-earned dollars here and investing in Florida.
Yes.
You got a couple of new projects?
Yes. Florida's a great state to invest in.
So how'd you get started? You start in California or?
Second generation hotelier, grew up in a motel, 40-room motel.
In Northern California?
In Northern California. My parents, when they immigrated here, a bunch of the local community members helped them buy this first motel, 40-room motel, 55th Avenue Motel.
So this is San Francisco then?
It's actually in Oakland.
Oakland.
Yeah, Oakland, California, East Oakland.
That's why you're a Raiders fan.
Huge Raiders fan. So, when I could come home from school, I would rent the rooms or I would clean toilets or fix stuff. My parents are very adamant that we were involved in the business.
Sure.
More on the business side, running spreadsheets and things of that nature back then, if you could believe that. And I'm still doing that now.
So that started, and then, so how'd you hop over to AHOA? Like, did you go to a meeting? There was a regional? Did somebody inspire you?
Fast forward, so I was in the industry. I went to college, was an investment banker for a while.
Wow.
Technology, finance as well. The thesis and my dad's vision was you're going to eventually take over the family business, but you should go learn and work outside to see what other people are doing to bring it back in. Fast forward, I'm just running our hotels, also working in a technology company. My first involvement with AHOA was actually early 2000s.
Okay.
And I went to a local conference there locally. There was a convention was coming to Long Beach, and someone said, "Hey, why don't you come get involved? This might be something that you might want to do."
Right.
And then fast forward, I said, "Hey, I think I want to serve this association." And I saw the association back then had a tremendous amount of potential, great foundation, just needed. As anything, it was run as a startup. So let's get it to maybe of our corporate structure. Within and say, hey, I think I could add value there.
Right.
And that's why I got.
And you were popularly elected. Was that the first time?
I was.
Right.
Yeah. So my director-at-large position was a popular election. Everybody, and I was very grateful and blessed that people put their faith in me. And then fast forward, when I became the treasurer back then, it was switched around.
Right.
I was the first elected by the membership, and it was a tremendous honor.
Right.
And a huge burden. Right. I felt that everyone put their faith in me, so I wanted to make sure I delivered back for them.
Right. So popularly elected, because before that the board
made the decision.
It was like almost a committee decision that said this is the next leader of AHOA.
Yeah, which I think had some merits to it, right? I think it still has some merits to it because we're not as transparent as an organization now by telling people what people are doing.
Sure.
Let's just be very real. And it becomes a marketing pitch, right? And back then, when you're working with your colleagues, your peers are telling you, oh, you're doing a really great job, we think we could add value. That doesn't mean that the public is not equally as qualified, they just don't have enough information sometimes. And then they were able to say, that person does a really good job, he's got the right vision, and what the actions happen inside the board and around the board, as a really true tell sign of actually whether you're going to do something or not.
Right.
Yeah.
So I look at it like 1.0 was for the first 2 or 3 years we didn't have a leader, an elected leader.
Correct.
2.0 was the board picking.
Yes.
And 3.0 was popular elected. And then 4.0 to me is now you vote online. And so this is how our association now is over 35 years old, right? And we're no longer the teenager on the block or the startup.
Correct.
Right? So what's your hopes and dreams? Like you went through a lot of, but there were challenges.
Always.
Right? But it was teamwork, made the dream work. So talk a little bit about your time when you were an officer and when you became chairman, and then let's talk about what you see the future of AHOA is going to be.
Okay, look, when we first started, the organization was trying to do 100 things at the same time. We were trying to build a governance structure, which is really important to me, around bylaws and processes and procedures and how we should be able to govern ourselves. Because we're no longer a startup, we're a company. There was a time where we were trying to get our place in the industry. Now we are the industry.
Absolutely.
So we don't have to be as nimble. We should be slow moving, but yet relevant and making sure that the ship is in the right direction. So all that's important. And that was a challenge to get a group of people to come in that believed in the concept that we needed this, but necessarily wasn't equipped to do it. And
Kapoor helped with this, right?
Oh yes, right? Yeah. We turned Kapoor with Ramesh Bhai and Tarun Bhai. Really helped. They were the glue behind the vision and then made the execution happen, right? But the execution was still on the board, right? We still had to follow, we still had to go through the process. I say that we're at a good space now. I would say sometimes from what I understand, we do too much of the governance piece of it, and then less of the action. But that's a different conversation.
Right.
Where we have, I hear about board meetings where we're just focusing a lot of time on policies and governance, what have you. I think that's great. I'm glad they've embraced it, but I think we need to pull that back a little bit and do a little bit more of the other pressing things. So the challenges were there. Communication was extremely important, both to internally to our board members, but also to the membership, also to the industry, to show, look, we're no longer that little new kid on the block.
Right.
We're a large organization. They already knew our economic power,
right?
Because we were doing all the business.
And when you were there, it was 50% probably. You did a study too with PKF. Maybe it was less than 50%.
Well, we started it. You're right. One of my things I want to do is I commissioned PKF, get a third-party validation.
Yep. And it cost a pretty penny.
A decent amount. It was an investment, right?
Correct.
Because I thought that data would be relevant to both the policymakers and also to the industry as a whole.
Correct.
40% of the industry, $128 billion was the number, if I remember, something like that. We came out and announced it. I know that number has eclipsed that by now. A combination of both.
But it was a great start, and I think people don't know what you went through to even get that on the table. To get it passed. Right? And not every board member was agreeing. But you look back at it now, we're spending a pretty penny on Oxford. We did it before COVID.
Correct.
And then we had to do it after COVID.
Correct.
To show that we didn't lose.
Correct.
We actually gained in metrics.
And I think it's because we have probably better science behind it. And I think those things the challenges are there. I'm glad that it became successful, right? Not everything you think in your brain that you want to go execute is going to, turn out the way you want it to be. But this one, I had a lot of conviction behind it. Like, we need this data set. After talking to a lot of people, they say, hey, look, data is important,
right?
Because as an organization, that's what you need,
right? And
I'm glad we're leveraging that, and we continue to do that. It's one of the long-term goals of our association, that we continue to show our strength and our footprint in the industry.
So what are your hopes and aspirations for AHOA in the future? Like, you've seen it, you come to the past Chairman's Council meeting, I go to the council meeting.
Yes.
There's a lot more going on, and like you said, could we be more transparent? Could we be more accountable? Could there be more things the board is doing? All those are questions, answers are yes. And so what would be your advice to the current board?
I remember when I was in leadership, I didn't want to hear from anybody else. It's my time, let me what I do.
Right.
But
you had a plan.
No, but I think that's okay. Look, I think right now I can understand the resistance sometimes to listen to other people's feedback. But I think it's important and sage in that perspective. I would look at trends, right? So look at the trends of where we are with our financials, look at the trends where we are with our membership growth, look at those trends and say, hey, some things have to move, some things have to change, right? I would like to see a focus back on true member benefits, ROI driven, not necessary conjecture. Like, I think this is bad. It's been no secret that I feel we should handle our brand relationships a little bit differently.
Sure.
More of a partnership versus being a standing ground, because once again, we're not the start of trying to find our place. We are the industry, right? A lot of us feel, most of our members are owners of franchise hotels, right? And they're a critical part of our strategy, ownership, even as an investor.
Right.
Like, I look for that, but I think that we should just focus on that, focus on the financials, focus on member benefits and driving that long-term return. I want to see us in the news for the wins we've made as far as being cooperative and being in a partnership with a person versus saying, oh, so-and-so doesn't want somebody here. That's not good for us as being the lead, representing the industry.
It's almost like I was listening to another panel is if you want to improve your health, stop watching the news.
Right.
At AHOA, we should share the good news.
Yeah.
Right? I think quite often we're not sharing the good news. We're not sharing the good word. And all the hard work that a lot of members do, a lot of ambassadors do, the conduit to our membership doesn't know what's going on.
No.
Right? You're at this conference, you do several conferences throughout the year. What does the next 5 years in our industry look like?
Technology and the implementation of that has really become a focus for us. Conferences are a place where you come and learn, you network, you meet people, all that's great. But you have to have time to do that, right? And these are time sinks for some perspective, and you have to think about it as an investment. So while I'm not in the office, while someone's not doing that, stuff needs to happen, right? And we know there's tools and stuff available out there to make us more efficient, not replace people, but do more. Like, we underwrite deals. We can underwrite 3 times as many more deals. At least look at them, have better decision, because we build language learning models around how to run all this stuff, right? That's important. And I think You're going to see how do you balance out the fact that we want to do automation and how does that replace guest service?
Right. Because we're in hospitality.
Yes, and I think that having a robot check you in is not the way, it's not the answer.
Not optimal, yeah.
But how do you balance that out? I think there's a lot of conversations around that. And I honestly believe there needs to be a right sizing between our franchisor model.
Okay.
But in a sense of, if you think about the economies of scale, the percentages of what we're paying have remained stagnant. They're flat, right? 5, 6, whatever, 7, 10%, what have you. Meanwhile, the industry has grown. The top line revenue has grown 2, 3 times.
Tremendously.
So there hasn't been any push to find efficiencies in that number.
Right.
Right. The other thing, I just give another example. Every time we buy a hotel, I'm paying a relicensing fee to the brand.
$100,000,
It's a significant amount of money, right? And so
it's not the 30, 40, 50 used to be, now
No.
200, 125 and above.
without a doubt,
Right.
we have to think about. Okay, I know we want to balance our relationship, but that's tangible data.
Correct.
That goes around that, and then I know that there was a recent deal with Marriott and their owners, talking about rebates and that nature. I think that AHOA should take a place of reasonableness on that approach and say, let's get people together and talk about it at that level.
Okay.
Because that's not, I know we have other things that we want to talk about, but that's important to me, right? So
Sure.
automation, technology, all that's important. The guest servicing is important, and this right sizing, because right now it's becoming in a place, at least now, that the owners are not making as much. Our top line's growing, but we're not making as much from an industry perspective on the bottom line.
And if somebody wants to, as we're winding up, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, how do they get in touch with you?
My number is available everywhere, but you go to my website, sonaricap.com. That's the name of our company, and my information is on there.
Well, I appreciate you coming out, and maybe we'll do this again.
Thank you, friend.
Thanks, man.
All right.